What's going on, guys? Moonman here. Today I'm at Fort Mountain State Park in Chatsworth, Georgia. I'm gonna take a small hike. We're gonna go see this rock wall built by who knows. Some say it was by moon-eyed people, some say it was by Europeans, some say by Native Americans. Who knows? All we know is it's older than any of us have ever been thought of. And then we're gonna go see a little fire tower and go see an overlook of the city of Chatsworth. So let's go do it. Coming into the beginning of the trail, it shows about Roosevelt's New Deal, how the Civilian Conservation Corps was founded by, in nearby Dalton, Georgia, this guy, he bought this land and then donated it to the state that then became the state park in 1938. Well, people of the CCC, they built the fire tower we're going to see later on, and they helped maintain all this, and they were paid $30 a month. And $22 to $25 of that was sent home to their families. Okay, so here's a little thing put here in 1968. It says, "Mystery shrouds Fort Mountain. The trail to the north of this site leads to the mysterious and prehistoric wall of loose rocks from which Fort Mountain takes its name. Many generations of explorers, archaeologists, geologists, historians, and sightseers have wondered about the identity of the unknown builders and the purpose of their handiwork. From the brink of a cliff off the east side of the mountain, the wall extends 885 feet to another precipice on the west side. Its highest parts measure about 7 feet, but generally it rises to a height of 2 or 3 feet. There are 29 pits scattered fairly regularly along the wall, within the ruins of a gateway at one point. Speculation regarding the builders and their purpose covers a wide field. It includes references to sun worship and last-ditch defense by prehistoric white people, bloody warfare between rival Indian tribes, defense fortification for Spanish conquistadors hunting gold, and a honeymoon haven for Cherokee Indian newlyweds. Nobody knows which of the many legends and the theories is true and which is false. The true answer still lies buried somewhere in antiquity and may never be unearthed." Right, so we can go to the overlook that direction or the stone wall and tower that way. We're gonna go see the stone wall and tower first. Only walked about 100 yards or less before you get to the first sign. And the rock wall, not sure exactly how far it is to get to it, but so far not strenuous. So this part of the trail still going, sending up these rock stairs built by what we saw earlier, the Civilian Conservation Corps, sometime around 1938-ish. Start getting up here. I'm sure the CCC moved some of this stuff around, but you see all these massive rock formations. Some beautiful little wildflowers there, but it says that one thing they know is that the rocks collected for the stone fort were collected from the summit of the mountain. All right, there's only like a brief, maybe 7 or 8 minute hike there, and we're coming up to another little historical thing. Okay, this ancient stone fortification, 885 feet in length, and the land on the crest of this mountain, 2,832 feet above sea level, was given to the state of Georgia for the establishment of Fort Mountain State Park by Ivan Allen. And this snaking around here is that rock wall they were talking about. Like they said, some people believe that it was put here by the Cherokee. Well, they said they didn't do it. They said they believed moon-eyed people did it. They were people who they said had big eyes, they were blue eyes, and they had white skin, and they only came out at night. Well, some people believe that might have been Europeans, but I mean, Europeans come out more than just at night, you know, if you didn't already know. So some people actually thought it was built by Madoc, a explorer from Wales, who is kind of credited with building different types of rock formations. And but if that was to be the case, he would have came before Columbus. So then that brings people to Hernando De Soto. They're not sure if he came this far north or not, but there is the evidence to prove that he did walk through Chatsworth and come up here to this fort because of the silver and gold, because they used to mine gold up here on this mountain. I think the most logical thing, well, some people thought the Confederates built it, but that is definitely not true, because the Confederates wrote that they came up here and they saw it, that it was already here. Granted, it probably was a lot larger, probably was a lot, you know, nicer back in the day, but keep in mind, they believe this is at least from the 6th century, at the earliest it could be. So, like the most recent time it could have been from, so it could be even older than that. So no one really knows who built it or where it came from. But the most logical explanation that a lot of people came to is that maybe it was built by a Native American tribe that predates the Cherokee. But we do not know, and we will never know. Much about the Moon Eye people and how there's a lot of these stone structures around the southern U.S. And it says that in the 1600s, when the Cherokees first started having whenever they would, in their tradition would start talking about the Moon Eye people. But the first time it was ever written down was by Benjamin Smith Barton. He had a book called New Views of the Origin of the Tribes and Nations of America. It was in 1797. And he wrote, "The Cherokee tell us that when they first arrived in the country which they inhabit, they found it possessed by certain moon-eye people who could not see in the daytime. These wretches they expelled." As in some accounts of the legend, the moon-eyed appear as a bearded, fair-skinned race with blonde hair and blue eyes. Other tales recount them as a nocturnal people who could see in the dark but were nearly blind in the daylight, and a few tales describe them as albinos. The origins of the Stonewall and Cherokee legends has two primary versions. One basically says that the Cherokee was at war with the Moon Eye people, and the Cherokee knew that the Moon Eye people cannot see during certain phases of the moon, so they attacked them under the full moon and to drive them into their homes, which was underground. And they attacked them here. This was like a fort to keep them away. The Moon Eye built it. The second version is the Creek Indians were the ones who had an ongoing war with the Moon Eye, and they drove them into hiding. So either Cherokee or the Creek, but the Moon Eye built it in their tradition to try to stop an invasion. It says the wall, the stones vary from a few pounds to several tons, and the height varies from 3 to 10 feet, and some are as much as 16 feet wide at parts. So definitely the idea of one person doing this, I think, is completely out of the question, especially stones such as this one. Is you'd have to have absolutely hundreds, if not like at least 20, 30 people to do this. Thing that's apparently there's several of these around the state of Georgia. This is one of the biggest ones, the best examples of what they would call like a serpent wall, which some people do believe this was meant to be like a snake. That's why it's serpents. But they left no artifacts. They didn't, as far as we know, they didn't really bury anything or have anything left behind. They just kind of built the wall, and like I said, and like it says, for what purpose, that remains unclear. It actually comes down, goes down there, and then snakes back up that way. This little trail they got built off to the side, marked by these little blue arrows, follows it around, so you can like see how far it is. Now, honestly, it's more than 100 yards I've walked thus far, so it is pretty long. Like over here to these large rocks. But you can see, if you look through the woods there, I don't even know if you can even make it over there. Yeah, there's a trail. It keeps going even that way. This part, there's like a rock that's just bouncing on itself into this little, it's got a little hole up under there. That's a many years worth of erosion or something at play there. It looks like it has been cut though, probably by the CCC. Interesting. Walk this way, and there's some blue markings on the tree for it too. It's like a little sub trail, but it still goes on even up to this way. But I think this is about where it ends. It's about over here, and just lucked out to where we actually still went a way where we could walk to the tower. So yeah, I believe it ends about right here. So I think it says what's 855 feet. That's crazy. And the trail, I would say, not very strenuous. What would you say, Lady Moon?
Not too strenuous.
Not too strenuous, other than the stairs.
How you are, though.
So there's a pit right there. It was talking about how there's like some pits close to the stone wall. I guess they're not really sure what they used them for. So there were 16 in total. So north face loop that way, tower this way. So we're heading towards that tower. So let's do it. And there, right there, we're coming up to the fire tower. I think it was built in the 30s or 40s by the CCC to watch out from Fort Mountain, to watch out and see if there's any fires nearby or anything like that. And there's one, so I can already see right now, there's one feature to it that is sort of famous, where they purposely put in a stone that resembled a heart. And if you take a look right there, There it is, front and center. And it's rarely open. I do think they do use it occasionally for actual intended purpose, but go in here, maybe we can look through the window and see what's in there. And so right now, there's really nothing in there, but we can go up the stairs and see if we can see anything, which I'm doubtful because it's not super high and the trees are pretty high, but worth a try, worth a try. Okay, not really. But we can see this little pavilion thing. I'm sure they probably sit there, and maybe they do that for scouts or something. They probably hike up here. Wouldn't be surprised if the Boy Scouts actually built that. There's a little sign up there that looks like it has some kind of info. So we'll go look at that in just a moment. But as you can see, there's a lot of trees, so you can't really see off that. But if you were higher up where the rangers and stuff would be, you'd be able to see pretty far. There was a big fire in 1910 known as the Big Blow Up. It consumed 3 million acres, which is the size of Connecticut. It's in the Pacific Northwest. The smoke traveled all the way to the East Coast, and it made the new Forest Service, you know, the newly created Forest Service had to address the issue of fire safety, so they built the tower. Well, the tower, the original wooden structure tower burned in 71. So then, see, this tower here was built in 34, 35, but the wood stuff burned down. So then they had to, so it wasn't there no more after 71. So then they had to restore it in 2014. And here's some photos of them restoring it. And it says the cost of restoration just for the tower was $188,800. There's another little 40 walk off of said tower there and its beauty. So we walked this trail, this section of the trail, and it's gonna, the overlook's now on our left again in the north face loop. Or I don't know if it's saying to go this way for the overlook or go that way for the overlook. No, we'll have to find a fixed section. I must say, this is the first bench I have seen on here. And there is the fire tower right there. And there's Lady Moon right there. Trail's starting to open up a little bit. And I can see on this side, it's coming to some kind of like boardwalk little area. We're getting close to this overlooks here. Moon Man going and unlocking you guys' biggest fears right here. It's kind of hard to see on picture where the ground is ending and the clouds are beginning. It's interesting. As we get close to the overlook, it becomes like a boardwalk type scenario. I must say, this one looks sort of well maintained. I'm sure they do it quite often because this is quite a popular spot. This is actually my first time making this hike, but I've never made the hike, but I've been to the park numerous times as a child. As we're coming up to it, I can already see for miles and miles on end. I'm not sure what state I know part of it's Georgia, but I don't know what state it's looking at. We're not that far from Tennessee or North Carolina. This tree right here. I think this is like some kind of man-made, man did this or something, but oh my God. Tiff and Jack's been here.
They might have been animals.
Oh, it wasn't a bear.
Tiff and Jack.
Oh, it wasn't a bear. Two bears named Tiff and Jack, because it said at the beginning, watch for bear markings. Because there's a lot of bears here. And it comes to like this gazebo type area. And you come and look up on this. This is much nicer than I was expecting it to be, honestly. Look over there, there's another summit on one of those mountains over there. But there's a nice little lake down there. Oh, wow. So you see these flowers wherever they are right here, very beautiful, but there's a little church right there, a little Bourne church, and there's another lake out that way. And there looks like, I'm not sure, it looks like some kind of factory or something, but right there, that right there, this little stretch of land is the city of Chatsworth. Right there. It's interesting. Extra apologies, guys. That is the city of Chatsworth. I drove over that bridge today. Look out that way. I'm pretty sure that is like this little speck right there is the little town of Eton, right next to Chatsworth. They're only like, what did you say, 5-6 minutes apart?
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. So we're gonna go back up the stairs and we're going to go walk around, I forget what it's called, something loop, a stone loop or something. We'll go walk that. Massive rock here. Look at that one bouncing on there, but ooh, look at that one. It's like up against the tree and everything. But there's always someone who's got to try to ruin it. Someone drove through this little eye here. As far as I know, there's no petroglyphs like written in the walls or anything. The mound builders, like we were talking about, they didn't really leave anything behind from what I understand. They built the mound, and well, not even a mound, it's the rock wall formation, pardon me. But they didn't leave any effigies or anything. Now we are on part of the north face loop, and I can already tell you, it looks like it's just slightly less traversed than the other ones. But we're walking right on the edge, which is enjoyable. You can hear the birds. There's another big rock right here.
I wonder what that is growing on it. Like lichen?
Something like that. Some kind of fungus. You guys tell me if I'm crazy. I'm looking down in this big rock here, and you know, it is nice there, but there's just a pile of acorns in there. Do squirrels live under rocks sometimes? I don't know. This part of the trail narrows a lot. So it's showing you guys, in case you ever wanted to walk it yourself. What kind of tree is this, I wonder? I don't know. It's pretty interesting looking tree. There's some ferns growing right there for all you nature lovers out there. If you're watching this vlog, I'm already assuming you either just wanted to see about the tower, the rock wall, or you were just a nature lover. So there's a millipede chilling. Another big rock thing. It's like water might come through that one.
That is so cool the way it's formed.
But right there is the side of the mountain there. I'm wondering if there's gonna be a little open up, like maybe not like a traditional like overlook with boardwalk, maybe just like a naturally occurring one somewhere on the edge of the mountain. Right here, up to another rock. You can kind of see a little bit out that way. This trail is definitely less traveled than the other ones, but I don't think it's strenuous. Lady Moon strenuous? No?
No.
No strenuous? Okay, good. This one, eventually it starts snaking down, so now we're going back down. And it's becoming a little bit more rocky. So at this point, now becomes where I'm getting touched constantly, which is not a problem, by the plants. But in other parts of it, they had it pretty bushed down, where you didn't have to worry about that. But still not very strenuous, but definitely at this point I would say worse and harder than the original trail. So it started to widen out again, so now it's very normal. Not that that was very hard. We're gonna follow the yellow one, so we go back over there. I am believing it will lead back to the wall. I'm not sure what this is. I'm sure probably put here by some ranger or something many years ago. Might have been a sign or something came out of it. But who knows? Could be really old. But yeah, there's just a lot of rocks on this part of the trail. Again, we're still walking the north face loop. You can access that where right past, well, we accessed it right past the fire tower, but you can access it right by the stone wall if you please. I think the first little trail is a good warm up to this one. Part of the trail is very much flatter and more open. And it's a nice break, and I think we're getting close to the end of this one. I'm not really sure. Down there's the parking. We just came out. I'm gonna walk back down here. This is what the very beginning of the trail to get to over there. Sorry, stone wall. So that's where we first began. I think all together, walking that trail and then the loop, I think is maybe, I would say, just a little less than 2 miles. So not too bad. And only like a little stretch of it was even like remotely challenging in any way. Well, that's pretty good. Now the Cool Springs Overlook. Just wanted to end my video out here, out this way. I wanted to give you guys a good little look. It's a lot less developed this way. This is on the bigger, what is the bigger side where you can, the beginning or end or whatever of the Kahuta loop here. Guys, hope you guys liked that. I liked it. I really like the rock wall, especially. I like the history behind it. I think it's pretty cool. Of course, like the overlooks. I like spending time with the people I care about. And I like the fire tower. And I like hiking. And you should like this video, because I like this video. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, share. Moon Man. He's out. All right, guys, bonus clip time. The Kahuta Overlook, never heard of it, but it's right down the road if you're driving from Chatsworth to Ellijay. So that's where we're ending up at today. But you guys probably won't see that, but let's go up here and just see what it is, I guess. For our very easy path, just, there's actually a little fence right there. Oh, I can see a stone structure up there, but easy path, but it does go up. There's a little stone wall built right there, going up to whatever this is. You can already see it's starting to become very panoramic already. So here's a little marker stone here in the center. And there's just a little, I don't know what you'd call this, like a little monument thing here for it. Looks like they might be redoing the stone in some spots, but never even heard or seen this before, but it's pretty cool. Hope you guys like that bonus.